So this video lesson is going to be part 2 of solving equations. Remember our steps. We're going to use the distribute if necessary. We'll combine like terms. Then we'll get the variables on one side, the constants on the other side, and then multiply or divide to solve. Okay. So those are the steps we're going to need to follow. So let's take a look at some examples where we use the distributive property first. Okay, let me zoom in here on this one. This says find the solution to the following equation. 3 times 2x minus 5 equals negative 2x plus 9. Okay, so here you see the parentheses in this equation. So the first thing we're going to do is distribute. Okay, so we're going to distribute the 3 to the 2x minus 5. Just as a reminder, let me go ahead and, well, let's do that first. So 3 times 2x. 3 times 2x is 6x. And then 3 times negative 5 is minus 15, or negative 15. Remember that we want to combine that sign in front of the 5 and negative and call that a negative 5. Okay? Now the rest of our equation says equals, we have negative 2x plus 9. So again, I'm going to highlight, we have our variables, 6x on the left side, negative 2x on the right. And then we have our constants, minus 15 and plus 9. Okay, we need to combine all those. So we've done the first step where we use the distributive property, distributed. Now we've combined all like terms on the left side and the right side because all we have are 6x minus 15 on the left and negative 2x plus 9 on the right. Now we've got to get our variables together on one side. So let's go ahead and get them on the left side. So if I have a 6x over here, but I want to remove this minus 2x, the inverse of that minus 2x is to add 2x. So I'm going to add 2x to the right side, and then I have to also add 2x to the left side. Now the reason we did that is because over here, negative 2 plus 2 cancels. Okay, so don't try to, don't get negative 4 or anything like that. Those cancel. All right. But over here on the left side, we have 6x plus 2x, which is 8x. And then we're going to bring down our minus 15, our equals, and then our plus 9 over here. So 8x minus 15 equals 9. All right. Now, we got our variables together on one side. Let's get our constants together on the other side. So I've got to remove this minus 15. How do we remove a minus 15? We use the inverse, which is to add 15. What we do to the left side, we must also do to the right side. So now, negative 15 plus 15 is 0. That's why we did that. We canceled it over here. But then 9 plus 15 on the right side is 24. So we have an equation that says 8x equals 24. Now we simply use the opposite or the inverse operation. We're trying to solve for x. It's being multiplied times 8. The opposite of multiplying times 8 is to divide by 8. What we do to the left side, we must do to the right side. And now, this doesn't really cancel, but 8 divided by 8 is 1. So we now know on the left side, 1x equals, and then 24 divided by 8 is 3. Okay, let's take a look at another example. So to begin this one, you see we have parentheses. We actually have them on both sides. So we're going to have to distribute on both sides before we can do the next step to solve. So first step, distribute. Here we have a negative 7 times negative 2x and negative 7 times plus 8. Let me use my highlighter just to, again, identify that that minus right there goes with the 2x. And then the plus sign, we're going to put it with the 8. Okay, so now we can distribute. So we have negative 7 times negative 2x. Negative 7 times negative 2 is actually positive 14x, because a negative times a negative is a positive. Now we have negative 7 times positive 18. Well, that's going to be negative 56. Okay. Now we just need to bring down our minus 4. Bring down our equal sign. Now over here, we have to distribute the 4 to the x and the plus 5. Okay. Get out my highlighter again. Remember, this is an x. Now, there's not a number in front of the x, but that's a 1x. Then over here, I'm going to put the plus sign with the 5. Okay. So over here on the right, we have 4 times 1x. I'm going to go ahead and draw my arrow. 4 times 1x is 4x. And 4 times plus 5, or 4 times positive 5 is positive 20, or plus 20. Okay. So now we have a whole nother, we have this equation. It's the same equation we just distributed. So we've taken the first step. Now we're going to combine like terms on the left side and combine like terms on the right side. Let me go and identify my terms with my highlighter. So we have 14x is a variable, and then that's all we have on the left, and then we have a 4x on the right side. Now let me highlight my constants. We have a negative 56 and a negative 4. Those go together. And we have a plus 20. So let me go ahead and combine these first. A negative 56 and a minus 4. When you do negative 56 subtract 4, you actually get negative 60. Okay, so I'm going to bring down all the other terms. So 14x minus 60 equals 4x plus 20. Okay. So now we're at the point where all we have is a variable term and a constant term on the left, and a variable term and a constant term on the right. Now we're going to get our variable terms together. I typically put them on the left side, okay? So I have a 14x over here. I want to combine it with a 4x. Well, I got to remove the 4x from the right side by using the inverse, which is to subtract 4x. Now, if I subtract 4x from the right side, I have to subtract 4x from the left side, okay? So now let's take care of both of these. Well, 4x minus 4x just cancels. That's 0x, so that goes away. And then over here, 14 minus 4, well, that's 10. So that's going to turn into 10x. Now I'm just going to bring down all my other terms. Minus 60 equals 20. All right, now we need to get the constants together. We have a negative 60 on the left and a 20 on the right. So since my variables are on the left side, I'm going to put my constants on the right. So to remove this minus 60, I use the inverse or the opposite, which is to add 60, and I do that to both sides. Again, the reason we do that is because negative 60 plus 60 cancels. So all we have left on the left side is 10x equals, and then on the right, 20 plus 60 is 80. Now our equation says 10 times a number equals 80. Maybe you can do that in your head, but we use the inverse operations to solve it. 10 times a number, so we do the opposite of multiplying, which is to divide, and we divide by 10. Because 10 divided by 10 is 1. So now we know the value of 1x equals, and 80 divided by 10 is 8. All right, and our solution would be 8. All right, now let's take a look at a couple star level questions. All right, this is a big equation. It says what value of x makes the equation negative 5x minus, and then parentheses, negative 7 minus 4x, close parentheses, equals negative 2, open parentheses, 3x minus 4 true. So this question, what value of x makes this true, is just another way of asking what is x, or solve this equation for x, okay? All right, so we have to do the distributive property, but the most important thing about this question right here is that we have this minus sign in front of this parentheses. Well, that's the same as saying negative 1. So we're going to distribute a -1 to both of these terms. That's the first thing we have to do. So we have to do -1 times -7 and -1 times -4. Remember, this is a -7, and then the minus sign goes with the 4x, actually. Okay, so if I were to rewrite that, that's going to be minus 5x. And then when we do a -1 times a -7, it basically makes that +7. So plus 7. And then -1 times -4x is plus 4x. All right, then I'm going to keep working. Over here, we have to multiply -2 times 3x. All right, remember that we have the 3x and the -4 inside the parentheses. So on that first one, when we do -2 times 3x, we get -6x. And when we do -2 times -4, we get +8. +8. All right, so now on the left side, we're going to combine our like terms. So let me highlight those. We have a -5x and a +4x on the left side. So when we combine -5x and +4x, we're actually going to get -x. Okay, so now we have -x plus 7 on the left side equals -6x plus 8. All right, so the next step is to get our variables together on one side. I'm going to get them together on the left side. So I need to add 6x to the right side to cancel it and add 6x to the left side. So when we do that, the -6x and +6 on the right cancel. And then over here we have -1x. Remember, that's a 1, -1x plus 6x. That's going to be 5x. And then plus 7, just bring down everything else, equals 8. Okay? Now we're going to get our constants together. We have a +7 and an 8 on the right side, so I need to get those together on the right side. So this +7, we're going to remove that with a -7. Remember, what we do to the left, we have to do to the right. And on the right side now, we have an 8 minus 7, which is 1. So our equation is going to say 5x equals 1. Okay? Now look what we have here. We have 5 times a number equals 1. Well, how do you multiply 5 times a number and it becomes a smaller number? Well, that means we're multiplying 5 times a fraction. But if you don't know that, remember our rules for solving. If the variable is being multiplied times 5, we use the opposite, which is to divide by 5. And you will see that this says that 5 divided by 5 is 1. So we know that 1x equals, and it's right there, 1 divided by 5, or the fraction 1/5. So we actually got a fraction answer of 1/5. All right, and that is a look at solving equations with variables on both sides and using the distributive property. Adding